Hey everyone, something I want to talk about is word count. I've done a video on word count before, but this is a little different. For newbie wannabe amateurs, I'm seeing on different places, mainly TikTok though, that you're all worried about word count. Stop. Because if you're trying to write your first book, you have absolutely no idea what your word count's going to be. A story will be finished when it's finished. Whether that story is 2,000 words, 20, 50, 100, 200,000 words. The story, your muse, whatever it is you believe in, will be finished when the story is finished. When you are writing a book, you should never worry about word count. Oh, I'm going to write a 120,000 word story. What the fuck? Most of us don't even do that. Let me tell you, unless you already have a traditional publishing deal and your publishing company has come to you and said, give us a 120,000 word book, what the fuck are you worrying about word count for? You know, especially as a newbie. You know, the veterans have those word counts because they do get the publishing deals. But you as a newbie and a wannabe and the first time writing, or even if you're just writing a third story and you haven't even looked at publishing yet, stop worrying about word count. You know, by the time you finish writing the story and the story ends where it needs to and it's done, and then you start going through your rounds of edits and you get editors to go through the rounds of edits and then everything else, that's going to be what your word count ends up being. You could end up slashing 20,000 words off that. You could end up turning them into two separate books. You don't know what the word count will be. So for all of those worrying about, you know, oh, I've got to write a 70,000 word book and, oh, what's the word count for this publishing house? And this, let me tell you, your book's not going to get published first time out. It just won't. Because unless you know what you're doing with writing and unless you polish it as best you can before you submit it, first books will very rarely get picked up. But don't worry about word count, because on top of that, if you get picked up at some stage by a trad house, even if it's, say, on your fifth book, because most authors generally don't, they will then edit it and tell you what to cut or what to change or what to rearrange. So your word count will end up completely different again. So, you know, when you're in the early stages of writing, worrying about a word count is pointless and useless and completely irrelevant, because what the first draft ends up being will be completely different to the final draft. So please, don't worry about word count when you're sitting down to write a story. Just let it flow out. Just let it come out of you, whether it's coming out of your brain, your soul, muse is coming through. Just let it come out as it does. And don't worry about word count. Don't even think of aiming for 120 or 130 or 150,000 words if you've never written a book before. Believe me, it's going to be hard. If you've never written a book, it is going to be hard. So please, don't worry about word count as a newbie. Just write stories, just write for the fun of it. Just let it all come out as is. And let them be the way they're going to be. Word count, you just don't need to worry about. You don't need to even worry about page count, because that's completely irrelevant at this stage as well. So word count, don't worry about it. Don't even set a word count limit. Just let the story come out and be what it's meant to be.